Not pounded in the butt by anything. 6 platonic tales of non-sexual encounters. The common themes in the Chuck Tingle universe are sex, which this one is about explicitly non-sex, Bigfoot. It's pretty mystical, is that it's a joke, but it's also good writing. Chuck Tingle's an American author. Apparently he has a PhD in massage therapy from a university that does not offer a PhD in massage therapy, which is fantastic. So let's start with Not Pounded in the Butt by Anything, and that's okay. Just sit back and relax. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Okay. Not pounded in the butt by anything, and that's okay. I roll out of a mess of blankets and pillows, clearing my mind as I shake away the sleep and let the warm morning sunlight soak in through my skin. It's a new day. Next, I take a shower and get dressed, then pour myself a bowl of cereal with chocolate milk, all part of the usual routine. Today feels like just another day in a series of many, but little do I know how important this particular day is about to come. I check my watch as I head out the door for work, thankful that I've carved out enough time to prepare for my big presentation today. Everybody in the office is on pins and needles, and I feel like I've got everything under control. The first sign that something's not right is when I step in to the elevator of my apartment building's massive, hollow car garage, noticing immediately that damn nearly all the vehicles are missing. Only a handful of cars remain, meaning one of two things. I'm either very late, or everyone else has decided to leave very early. I check my watch again just to make sure, then smile confidently. 7 in the morning. Heading towards my car, I suddenly stop, panic shooting through my veins in an icy bolt. I frantically pull the phone from my pocket and check the time, gasping aloud when I see it's actually 8, not 7. And the device has updated itself automatically. I forgot about the change in daylight savings time. Oh, I blurt, suddenly breaking into a sprint and throwing open my car door and climbing inside. I peel up from my spot and blast from the car garage, weaving my way through the city streets as I struggle to make up lost minutes. While I still might make it to the office in time for my presentation, it's not a guarantee, and I certainly can't prepare the way I'm suspecting to. My heart slams into my chest. I focus intently on the road ahead. My concentration breaks only when a brilliant flash of red and blue lights appeared in my rearview mirror. No, I cry, immediately realizing what's happening. I pull my car over to the side of the road and take a deep breath, struggling to think of a way I can get myself out of this quickly and easily. A large, muscular, unicorn police officer, right here, appears at the driver's side window next to me, prompting me to roll down as I gaze up at him. The creature is shirtless, showing off his perfectly sculpted chest and abs. "Unicorn Butt Cops, Highway Patrol," the objectively handsome unicorn says in a deep, gruff voice. "Do you know how fast you were going back there?" I hesitate, not quite sure how to respond. "I might have been going a little over the speed limit," I finally admit. The unicorn chuckles to himself, shaking his head as he gazes down knowingly from behind enormous mirrored glasses. "You're going 25 over. That's pretty fast." I let out a long sigh. "I'm sorry," I finally say. The unicorn butt cop nods. "License and registration," he continues. I hand the officer both, but before he walks away, I call out to stop him. "Please," I shout, prompting the muscular creature to turn around and stroll back to me. "Is there anything I can do to speed this process up? Anything at all?" The unicorn gazes over the rim of his glasses, a single bead of sweat forming on his brow in the morning brilliant sun. "There is one thing," the muscular unicorn butt cop replies. I swallow hard. "Yeah?" The creature hesitates for a moment. "You can promise to never do it again," he finally says. "Sounds great," I reply, thankful to be let off so easily this time. The unicorn butt cop tears a blank citation page off in his hand, and then raps twice on my car with the side of his knuckles, and he says, as he walks away, "Don't do this again, okay? It's dangerous." "I won't, I promise," I call out as I start my car and pull onto the city streets one more, this time at a respectable speed. While my presentation is incredibly important, it's certainly not worth getting into an accident over. Besides, even if I do manage to make it where I'm going safely, a promise is a promise. I had told this unicorn butt cop that I'd follow the speed limit, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Surprisingly, thanks to the fact that most people are already where they needed to be in this morning, traffic is relatively clear, I arrive at my office building only 15 minutes later than I expected. Amazing. I hop out of my ride and grab my briefcase, running over to the elevator and somehow making it inside before the sliding doors close. I press the button for the 23rd floor and then count down the seconds until my lift cruises upwards. It feels so much slower than usual. The second the doors slide open, I'm rushing into the lobby, heading straight for the conference room where I'm certain everyone else is already waiting. Seconds later, I'm bursting through the door to see that I'm absolutely correct. An entire table full of coworkers immediately turn to look at me, my boss, Mr. Blanto. is at the head of the long conference table. Mr. Blanto, a well-dressed Bigfoot, with dark brown hair and striking blue eyes, furrows his brow when he sees me. Again, we weren't sure if you're going to plan on showing up for your presentation late or not. I'm so sorry. I apologize, walking to the front of the room and opening up my briefcase. I pull out my notes to make sure everything is where it should be. I forgot to change my clock. Mr. Blanto settles back in his chair, clearly a little bothered, but not letting it ruin his day. Fine, the muscular Bigfoot tells me, waving his hand in the air as if to push any lingering thoughts away on the matter. You're here now. What have you got for us? I nod, walking over to my projector, flipping it on. Tingle Land! I say aloud as a massive aerial map of fantastical amusement parks appear on the screen behind me. An enormous theme park for adults, based on the comparative works of Dr. Chuck Tingle. Mr. Blanto's expression doesn't change at all, which gives me great concern, but I push ahead anyway. The theme park is going to feature several rides, all based on the various noble works of Dr. Chuck Tingle. We're going to have roller coasters, dark rides, virtual reality simulations, the works. More importantly, we're going to have restaurants and, of course, plenty of merchandise. Mr. Blanto can't help but smile at the sweet mention of merchandising as it rolls across his ears. It's a reaction that couldn't come soon enough. And the second I see his stoic facade break, I can feel the trepidation slip away. We're going to have 4 theme lands within the park, I explain, walking over the projection and pointing to each one of the 4 segments. Each one is themed after a different kind of tingler. We've got Unicorn Land, Living Objects Land, Dinosaur Land, and of course, Bigfoot Land. My boss is nodding along now, and thusly, his table full of kiss-asses are following in suit, acting incredibly excited about this idea as it unfolds before them. To be honest, I don't care about their reaction, whether it's genuine or not. I'm just glad I have some of them along for the ride. Do you have any questions so far? I ask Dr. Blanto. My boss considers this for a moment, letting everything I've just said hit him as he rolls it around in his head. You say this theme park is for adults, right? Dr. Blanto questions. I nod. Chuck Tingle's books are great, and I think we can all agree on that. But they're also packed with graphic sex. You can't just have a theme park full of rampant sexual imagery, even if it is for adults only. Not every Chuck Tingle book has sex in it, I explain. Dr. Blanto scoffs. Somehow I doubt that, the well-dressed Bigfoot retorts. It's true! This one isn't. That's meta. My boss mulls over these comments a little longer, and then suddenly makes an announcement to the room. Alright everyone, get out. Me and Ken need to chat privately for a moment. My coworkers all stand up from their seats and take off without a word, getting back to work like the good little drones while Dr. Blanto and I wait silently. Soon enough, the whole room is completely empty, other than the 2 of us. May I speak openly? My boss suddenly questions, a strange request from an otherwise forward Sasquatch. Of course, I tell him, turning off the projector. Dr. Blanto climbs to his feet and begins walking slowly towards me, loosening his tie as he goes and then pulling it off completely. I have some concerns about the sexual elements of this park, he informs me in a deep, confident tone. I think I may need a few examples of how it's going to work. I have a few examples right here, I explained to Dr. Blanto. The hulking Bigfoot is now standing directly before me. I'm gonna need more than that, he retorts, hesitating for a moment. I'm gonna need a lot more. Anything, I tell him. Dr. Blanto nods. I'm gonna need 10 ride designs on my desk by tomorrow morning. Bright and early. My boss reaches his hand down and gives me a firm shake. Great presentation. Why don't you head home and start getting ready on those? I know you're much more creative out of the office. Thank you, I reply. That's very understanding. No problem, retorts Dr. Blanto, turning and heading for the door. Looking forward to it, he calls back over his shoulder. I collect my things, carefully packing away my briefcase as the excitement overwhelms me. I've known this idea was a hard sell, but as a lifelong buckaroo, I had to give it a shot. Thankfully, it seems like the rest of my coworkers are, at the very least, receptive to the concept. Now I just need to blow them away with an incredible collection of my ride plans. I head back to the elevator and make my way down towards the garage once more, my mind already flooded with a myriad of different concepts for Chuck Tingle based. Mr. Blanto was right. I really am more creative when I work from home. I'm even more creative, however, when I work from the library. With this in mind, I change course and head directly to the nearest library branch I can find. I pull my car up out in front and then head inside, immediately overwhelmed by a powerful sensation of relaxation and tranquility as my vision is filled with stacks and stacks of beautiful old books. In the day of the internet, this place might not be as popular as it once was, but it's just as beautiful as ever. I stroll over to a nearby table and consider claiming my spot, but at the last second I alter course and decide to check out any texts there might be regarding the theme park history and construction of so. Maybe there's something laying around here that can get my creative juices flowing. I know this particular library pretty well, and instinctively head over to the appropriate section. I slowly make my way through the aisles, my eyes wandering over binds after binds as I stroll. There's so many more here to get excited about, and it's almost overwhelming. And this proves to be the case when I suddenly find myself running directly into another person while they make their way down the aisle across from me. "I'm so sorry," I blurt out. What? This is the voice of our character, by the way.
Oh my god, it's just John Mulaney.
Watching as a stack of books that was once held in this person's arms goes clattering to the ground, I bend over and immediately start gathering the text, then stand up to find that I'm face to face with a light green raptor and thick-rimmed glasses. The two of us smile immediately as our eyes meet, a powerful sense of friendship and appreciation passing back and forth between us. "It's okay." Everybody else has the same voice too. It's fine. "It's okay," the dinosaur tells me. "My fault." I laugh. "No way. That was totally my fault. I should have been watching where I was going." It's fine, the raptor continues to assure me.
Oh, wow.
I notice now that the prehistoric creature is shirtless, but he's wearing an official library name tag attached to the waistband of his pants. "Oh, you work here," I stammer. The dinosaur nods. "I'm Trip, the handsome Jurassic librarian." "It's a nice day to meet you, Trip. I'm Ken," I inform him. "I was actually looking for some books on history of famous amusement parks." The raptor smiles. "Well, I'm glad I can help you then. We've been doing some rearranging. The historical section is over there now," he explains, pointing a long clawed finger across the library. "Thank you so much," I gush. The dinosaur casually leans against a bookshelf now, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Is there anything else I can help you with?" he coos. I consider his words for a moment. There's something very cool about this raptor that I can't quite put my finger on. A confident demeanor that makes me want to spend more time with them. "What are you doing after work?" I finally question. "I've got a lot to do before my big meeting tomorrow, but if I get finished, maybe we could hang out and talk about libraries." "Are you sure?" Trip questions. "I don't want to interrupt your work." "Oh, yeah," I assure him. "Some people think it's best to work and work and work before a big meeting like this, but what they don't realize how important it is to relax as well. You've got to take care of your business, of course, but you can't overdo it." Trip grins with his perfect rows of sharp dinosaur teeth. "I think I can help you relax," he says. "I'll see you tonight." I've just finished plating my dinner when the doorbell rings, and I walk over with both excitement and apprehension. I can tell that Trip is a very, very hip dinosaur, and I hope that he thinks that I'm hip in return. I open the door. "Hey, come in," I offer my new friend. The muscular raptor strolls inside, still shirtless. He glances around my apartment and nods in appreciation of my interior decorating skills. "This is a great place," Trip tells me. "Thank you," I reply. I can tell now that there's a powerful tension blossoming between us. A potent ache that I can't quite put my finger on but simmers with intensity in the pit of my stomach. It builds and builds as the two of us stand there in silence, just staring at one another, until eventually I realize exactly what this feeling is. "I'm so hungry," I suddenly blurt. "I'm sorry, I should have eaten a bigger lunch. I know you just got here, but can we have dinner now?" "Yes," the muscular raptor gushes. "Of course." Suddenly, we're rushing over to the dinner table, taking our seats and immediately chowing down on the food before us. I open wide and take huge spoonfuls of mashed potatoes in my mouth, savoring the sweet, buttery flavor as I gaze across the table at my new friend. Trip is clearly enjoying himself too, lost in a moment of utter satisfaction as he tries the green beans. "This is so good," the dinosaur groans. "Thank you," I moan in reply. "I'm so proud of how it turned out." I shovel more and more of the delicious food into my mouth, altering between potatoes and beans until finally I can't take it anymore and take both between my lips at the same time. I swallow hungrily, taking this strange mess of flavors down my throat as I close my eyes and focus on the sensation. It's honestly much better than I would have thought, and it only adds to the confident assertion that I've done a pretty good job for an amateur cook. Now it's time for the main course, but despite how excited I am, I can't help but hesitate. You seem nervous, Trip informs me. I nod. I am. Why? He coos. I've never done this before, I finally admit. Trip looks shocked. Cooked? Not for a guest like this, I continue. Mashed potatoes and green beans are easy, but I don't know how you'll think I did on the main dish. I'm sure it's fine, the muscular, shirtless dinosaur assures me. I stand up and stroll over to the kitchen, peeking into the oven and then glancing back over my shoulder at the raptor. It certainly looks amazing, but who knows how this roast actually tastes. Slowly, I open the oven further and further until it's a gaping wide hole for me and Trip to see, the sizzling main course looking absolutely mouthwatering as it waits for me and the raptor to make our move. You like what you see? I called back to the dinosaur, his eyes transfixed on the delectable treat before him. Fuck yeah, Trip offers in return. I take a deep breath, let it out, then I try to collect myself before taking a final leap into the unknown. I have to tell you something, I say, my voice trembling slightly. What is it? Trip questions, a look of grave concern making his way across his face. This isn't meat. It's vegetarian, I inform him. I hope that's okay. I hold my breath on pins and needles as I wait for the librarian raptor's reply. His expression stays completely blank for much longer than I'd like, but eventually a grin begins to creep up on his lips. I've never had a vegetarian roast. Sounds exciting. What's in it? I'm not sure, I admit. I just got it at the store. Pea protein, I think? The raptor climbs up from his seat and positions himself behind me, leaning over my shoulder as he smells the delicious roast. He takes a big sniff, holding it out onto it for a minute and then letting it out slowly. In and out this dinosaur breathes, quickly falling into a rhythm with me as we analyze this exciting new addition to our meal. Yeah, the dinosaur gushes. This smells like a roast to me. I can't even tell the difference. Want to help me get it out? I ask. Trip nods, and soon enough the two of us are pulling the sizzling faux meat dish out of the oven, setting it on our counter and admiring the bubbling juices that swim around the pan. I reach into a nearby drawer, pulling out a large knife, cutting a thick slab for each of us before we return to our seats at the table. I can't wait for this, the dinosaur says, his eyes wide and his mouth watering. Without hesitation, we dive in, consuming the main course with a blissed-out fervor unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Sharing this moment with my new friend is incredible, and the pleasure of the meal is only elevated by his presence. It's just the innuendo, you're right. Now the two of us are moaning and groaning together. Not sexual. Losing ourselves in the moment as we chow down on our succulent roasts. Trip plunges his fork into the slab of tender juices over and over again, starting slowly at first, and then picking up speed as the flavor overwhelms him. Not wanting to be left behind, I quickly fall into a rhythm behind Trip, eating at his pace as I continue to shovel more and more food into my body. Faster and faster we go until eventually, I'm worried that there will soon be no more roast left. Of course, that's when I remember I've got a whole tray of sizzling goodness left over to be devoured. More? I question. Yeah, more. The shirtless dinosaur grunts enthusiastically. I take our plates, which are now wiped clean, and then head back to our kitchen for another helping of this incredible meal. This time, I slide off 2 even larger chunks of the roast, not slowing down for even a second. I take a spoon and ladle on some of the juices around it, making sure everything is nice and wet, returning to the table to see my handiwork before Trip once more. It's all yours, I tell him. I watch in awe as the dinosaur continues to wolf down the delicious roast, putting my worries of vegetarian menu completely at rest as he slams the food down through in a state of aching, belligerent passion. The dinosaur has consumed his entire second slab before I even sit down, which causes me to reel in shock. Trip notices this and quickly apologizes. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Was that too fast? No, I assure him, shaking my head before a wiry smile plasters across my face. I like it, actually. I love it. I take the shirtless, muscular creature's plate again and carry it back to the kitchen, loading it up once more with more and more of the roast before returning it to Trip. Of course, the hungry dinosaur promptly wolfs it down once more. This process goes on for a while, in and out of the kitchen for what seems like forever, until it feels like the dinosaur is about to reach its breaking point. Oh my god, Trip groans. I'm so stuffed. I think I'm gonna blow. Wait, I cry out. Just one last thing! I run back to the kitchen, but this time I don't go for the roast, which is nothing but scraps now. Instead, I head to the freezer and open it up, pulling out a sweet and frozen tub of delicious ice cream. I prepare the two of us large bowls of the velvety goodness and carry it over to my friend, setting it down once before him and another one before myself. Think you've got room? I question playfully. I've got this, the dinosaur assures me. The next thing I know, we're both diving into the ice cream with a ravenous hunger, swallowing massive spoonfuls of the milky liquid. Don't even stop to wipe my chin as the white liquid rolls down my face in long, thick streaks, dangling in the air before dripping off in the bowl once more. Of course, I'm determined to finish it all, and I immediately go to get working scooping the remainder of the ice cream. I swallow the milky thickness with hunger and passion, utterly beside myself as the sweetness overwhelms me. I finally moan, collapsing back into my chair. That was amazing! You're telling me, the raptor chimes in, looking equally satisfied. We sit like this for a while before Trip stands up and strolls over, rounding the table and taking a seat in the chair next to me instead of across. There's something about this closeness that I like, although I can physically sense that the way that my new friend is starting to open up to me. I was thinking, the dinosaur begins. I really like you, and I'd love it if we'd spend more time together. I like you too, I tell him. Suddenly, the raptor reaches out and touches my arm in a way that I'm not quite prepared for, breaking past the boundaries of friendship and ending it somewhere else entirely. I pull back slightly, which fills Trip's expression with grave concern. I'm sorry. It's okay, I assure him. I'm just not interested in anything physical. Trip considers this for a moment. That's okay. We can just be friends. I shake my head. No, I don't mean like that. We definitely can be more than friends, but I'm just not interested in having sex. If you're okay with that, then so am I. If not, I totally understand. I'm interested, the muscular raptor says with a smile. So what does that make us? Buds? Boyfriends? I shrug, laughing as I realize what an understanding and caring companion I found. I don't know yet, but it's all on the table. I just can't wait to figure it out together. And that was not pounded in the butt by anything, and that's okay.